Alright, hell yeah. So someone wanted me to solve some problems from a Sri Lankan paper. And so, yeah, I just pulled this up. Send me specific problems. That would be the better way to go. Else I'm just going to do some easy ones. Now, this one wasn't too easy, but I thought it was interesting. There's not much to go on. I really didn't understand. There's like the picture's not very good. And I considered this problem like trying to read directions. You know what I mean? Like doing some sort of manual and putting together something. So anyway, so this is a gauge, and this gauge is spinning, and this thing is lengthening. And so, yeah, I just don't know how this gauge works. Like, where do you put the thing? But it does have a readout. And so if you look over here on the gauge, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, there's 2 millimeters, there's 3 millimeters. And so it's in hash marks of half. So just right off the bat, it's like, well, is it 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5? So it's more than 3.5. So that's the check on reality, where you can come down here and be like, these are not right. But then something's kind of funky, because you're just like, well, this, if I just read this, this would be like 3, but then I come over here and I get like a 31, you know, so if this is 30 right here, this is 35. So then it's kind of like, what gives? Well, this is a kind of a cool problem, because it shows you, like, if you're turning a screw, like a bolt or something, it has threads. And the threads of a bolt mean that if you go from there to there, if you turn the nut one full revolution, the nut will move that distance. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so that's how this gauge works, and it's how a lot of like really precise, dials work. Is where, if you spin it like once, it's going to travel maybe just a particular distance, sometimes very short, and then so the shorter the distance, the more accurately you can move that gauge. So this says that it has a pitch, so that's kind of your go-to. It has a pitch of 0.5 millimeters for every 1 revolution. Okay, that's pretty sweet. And then so even that is like and then it says it's the dial is divided up into 50 equal divisions. So there you go. And then so I just came over here and I was just like, well, 0.5 millimeters is equal to 50. So cool. And then I was like, well, what's 0.1 millimeter? I don't even know if I said that right, 0.5. So 0.1 millimeter is going to be, well, that's going to be 10 divisions. Okay, so let's go to 0.01 millimeters is equal to 1 division. So that's kind of what I did, and that's kind of how I was just like, oh, okay, now I kind of understand, and I'm getting maybe closer to the answer. But the trick here is that I was just like, well, let's... how do I get from, let's say I was at 3 and I wanted to get to 3.5. So right here is 3.5 millimeters. Well, I need to add, I need to get to this 3 mark and then add 0.5 millimeters, 0.5 millimeters. Well, if I come over here, that's 1 full revolution. So then I got the problem. So from here to here, this thing's going to spin 1 time. And so that's kind of just the interesting thing about this dial. And so when you get to 3.5, it already spun once, and now we're spinning 31 segments. So we have 31 segments more. So if we see what one of the segments is 0.01, so 31 segments is 0.31 millimeters. So we're already at 3.5 millimeters, and we're adding 0.31 millimeters. Now there's probably a lot of ways to get to this answer, but I don't know. I just thought this was a fascinating one to me. Just because I really didn't, I got this, I didn't know really what was going on. So this is one where, I don't know, it's like you don't want the answer spelled out for you. But if you've never done anything like this, if you don't know what, like a pitch on a thread, and you don't have an understanding that every rotation it's going to move that pitch distance, then this problem probably won't make any sense because the pictures don't have much to go off of. And even here, then you can actually see this picture is pretty well drawn to scale, where like here's the 0 mark, and if this was at 0, maybe this line would completely disappear. So now we're taking it and then we're moving it to 0.123. So this is 3 divisions, and that would be 0.01 millimeters. And 0.01 millimeter, that's a hell of a tiny distance, because there's 1 millimeter and we have 100th of one of those. Maybe I could see down to 1/10 of a millimeter, but definitely I couldn't see a 100th of a millimeter. So that's pretty cool that these are fairly accurate. And if you're in between, hey, you can actually kind of guess that, hey, maybe I'm at 31.4 segments. You might be able to see that on this gauge. So these gauges can be pretty accurate down to like very microscopic distances. As long as they're accurate, you need to back them up with other gauges. Alright, so hell yeah. So let's do this. 3.81 millimeters, and number 4 is our answer. Alright, so thanks for joining me on this one, and guess what? That's a video.